Hi guys, I think this might be the last video for tonight, but I want to end it on the same note of the last three videos about real life zombies. All my life since I was young, I've been interested in the paranormal. Coming up as a teenager, I read all kind of books about ghosts, poltergeists, and things like that. And as I got older, I started doing more and more research. In my um, early 20s, I started um, I started seeing things about how the Russians and the Germans and the United States were doing experiments on children and people to see what kind of psychic abilities they had. I was interested in the people who had telekinesis, which is the form of mind reading. Some people say, well, they could call them, what's the word? You're taking a mess from my head. But people who were psychics, they helped the police department sometimes on different cases and solving cases. I was reading several of them everywhere. And not only did I study the paranormal in the United States, I started studying paranormal all over the world. About how in the bluegrass, the hillbillies had their own form of witchcraft and magic. How the not the Quakers, the other people that had their own forms of magic and magic. How the Hispanics uses Santeria and Jamaican magic, the gypsies in Europe, and Haitian zombies and stuff like that. Poltergeists, like I said, who affected children going through puberty, usually affects a teenager, somebody's going through puberty, a doppelganger, a person or something that looks just like you who tries to take over your life. And like I said, I dipped into a lot of the paranormal cases about ghosts all over the world, scenes of ectoplasms where they say this material will come out of a person's body, and one really interesting thing, because the Indians had their own shamans, their witch doctors, and everything like that. But what was most interesting to me was the Jamaican and Haitian zombies. And I read a lot about that, and I found studies that show that they were actually real-life zombies. But they weren't people who actually died. The witch doctors and the in Jamaica or Hades wanted to show the villagers that they had certain powers and to control the villagers and to make them fear them. So it was this fish, like a blowfish, in their waters, and it's highly toxic. But if you use a small amount of that toxin on a person, it can slow a person's heart rate and breathing down so low that people thought they were dead. So the people would bury their family members, and then the witch doctor would go and dig them up later. But one of the problems was sometimes the witch doctors would leave them in the ground so long if they were suffering from brain damage from lack of oxygen. But the witch doctor was able to control these zombies. You understand what I'm saying? So our government has studied all of this for centuries about the different forms of witchcraft, demonology, and magic here on this planet. And right now, they have incorporated all of them into one source. Now, one thing that struck me is odd. Years ago, I used to look up origins of phrases and words. And one of the things that I had saw was, we have the saying "Saved by the Bell." So I looked up the origins of that phrase "Saved by the Bell," and what happened was, um, in the early parts of America, people were being buried, and the grave diggers would later go to dig up the bodies, and they would find that those people were buried alive, that their fingers were bloody and torn from trying to dig themselves out of that coffin. So, since they knew they were burying so many people still alive, they would put a hole in the coffin, put a string down in there, and they would put a bell at the top, and like I said, the string would go down in the coffin, so if a person woke up in that coffin, they could ring that bell, and they were saved. So that's where the phrase came, "Saved by the Bell." Now I'm going to tell you a horrible story. This is something horrible, but I think these things are up to the same thing today. Years ago, in the 80s and 90s, I was hearing about cases of people who everybody thought were dead, and they were still alive. There were several cases, but I remember one case in particular where they thought this man was dead. He had no pulse, no heart rate, no breathing, and they were taking him down for autopsy. And only thing that saved his life, he said he was so scared he could not blink his eye. His eyes were still. He said he was so scared and he knew he was going to die. He said so he cried. And miracles, or ordered to look down and saw the tear coming from his eye and knew he was alive. That was the only thing postponed them from taking that man to the autopsy room, cutting him open, and performing the autopsy on that live person. Now, I don't know how many cases of this has happened, but we all know these evil things are capable of anything. I don't know whether these people feel pain, and they probably do. Because if he could feel enough that he could cry, he would have probably felt pain on those tools that the coroner used for autopsy. You understand what I'm saying? Do you imagine the horror of people laying there alive, knowing they're going to be cut open, the pain they could possibly be going through? Do you think these evil things have changed that? So, as I said, I know a lot about parapsychology, and I'm learning more today. I don't want to make this video more than 10 minutes long, so I'm going to run through this real fast. So once I started learning about paranormal, meditation, I started reading books on meditation. So I had got to the point where I could lay down, relax my body so where I could slow my heart rate or speed it up and heal parts of my body. Understand what I'm saying? So I jumped from meditation to the ABCs of witchcraft. So I bought all kinds of books on witchcraft. I started practicing witchcraft. I started doing tarot card reading, regular card reading, palm reading, stuff like that. Everything I told somebody came true. I was good at it. Everything I predicted or told somebody in the future came true. Now, there's one thing about this. I never told anything. If I saw something bad, I never told that person. I only told them the good things. Number two, I never charged anyone, any time, for reading their fortune. And they would come back to me all the time praising me. But like I said, I'm in this. But one thing happened. They say you could be a white witch. I don't believe in that anymore. Because one of the meditation parts said, once you become a witch, that you have to release yourself, relax again, open your mind, and let the voices come in. And I tried that. I opened my mind, but something started coming in me so fast, and I felt it was so evil that I shut myself down. I shut my mind down. I refused to let that come into me. I never did that again. I never touched witchcraft again like that. But I never stopped studying it. You understand what I'm saying? All right, guys, I love you. Be informed, be aware, be prepared. Keep your head to the skies, and keep praying.